Hello everybody. Sorry about that, guys. I had to I don't know what that was, honestly. I set up my stream and then OBS just started on an entirely different video, so I had to switch everybody over. Sorry about that. I have to delete the other stream. Guys, OBS is an absolute cockblock. It's so annoying. OBS is like genuinely frustrating these days. Alright, what's up, Lone Wolf? I'm going to be working on some client work tonight. Alright, let's get started. Lone Wolf says, when I had OBS at one time, I shared in your pain. I used it for game streaming, sure. I would totally check out your streams if you were still doing them, Lone Wolf. Doing some headlight shade studies using book suggestion from David Finch. Bram Stoker's Dracula, how appropriate. So, speaking of which, first of all, that's really cool. And speaking of which, I have recently started advertising a little more of the break room video that we did, and which reminds me I should put this on Patreon. And it got us a few subscribers on Patreon, so I was telling Dan, like, let's do more of these, because I think it's the Patreon. I'm trying to figure out how best to use it, but it seems like people are more interested in the break room videos than they are in keeping up with my art, which is okay. I'm not offended by that. So for anybody who's from the Patreon watching, you can expect to see a lot more of those. I'm going to be doing, we're doing Excalibur next, and I want to do some other ones that don't necessarily, because Dan is like absolutely necessary. He's absolutely necessary for that one. But he's got a busy schedule, so I want to be able to do some that don't necessarily need for him to be present, because he's got a lot going on. but I'm pressuring him to do Excalibur with me. But so I'm gonna do a poll on the Patreon of like who wants to see, you know, whichever movie, and we'll see which ones we can put together. I'm really hoping you guys tonight in the chat make a ton of suggestions, like just a lot. Yo, what's up? How you doing, Maya? I would love for you to suggest some stuff we could watch together. How's my audio? Is it okay? I'm gonna ask that every video. I'm sorry. So interestingly, I know I often use the iPad, but I recently, on the Huion that I use, I made some adjustments to the pressure settings, and it's really made it much more easy and fun for me to use. And now I'm thinking I'm going to try to use it more often because it's feeling almost as good as it does in Procreate, and so. And also it is, you know, more conducive for streaming. It's a little easier to set up. I don't have to rely on that camera that's always shaking. Speed paints process videos might do well too. Yeah, I've been posting those. I've been posting some speed paints. Oh, you know what? I don't think the last one, I don't know if I put it on the Patreon, but I've been doing them on YouTube. Yeah, so for Excalibur, I definitely want Dan to be there. If you can join us, that'd be great, Maya, but if not, no pressure, because you and I can do, we can do other break room videos together later. Don't know about what, Lone Wolf. Dark Crystal? Oh my god, what a good suggestion. Legend would definitely be, yeah, I would definitely want Dan, I would definitely want you, and honestly, there's not too many other people I know who appreciate that movie as much as you, me, and Dan. Blade? Wow, what a great idea. American Werewolf in London? Oh my god, you are just a good idea machine. There's a show of The Thing? Get out of here. What are you talking about? You know what? Let me move the chat. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so everything that Maya just said, I'm gonna make that into a poll on the Patreon. Thank you for those, Maya. Those are really good. And keep them coming, guys. I was also wondering if anybody wanted to see Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's one of my favorite movies. Labyrinth. You know, I only saw Labyrinth once as a kid. I've only seen it the one time. I would watch Escape from New York again, even though I'm not a huge fan of it, from what I remember. I feel like I would give it another shot. Dragonheart is great. Also, oh my god, Big Trouble in Little China. Howard the Duck, you know that's for free on Tubi? Hey, what's up, Edgar? Swamp Thing, oh my god, I love... Okay, guys, Swamp Thing or Swamp Thing 2, because I'm a big fan of the second Swamp Thing movie in particular. The costume in the second one is just beautiful. It's also like, as far as like schlocky comic book movie camp, it's a lot more fun. Maybe we should do that one next because it's kind of like a B movie. I mean, it's not kind of, it's definitely a B movie. So it actually feels like it's a lot of comedy to work with there. The final boss fight of the movie, spoiler alert, is hilariously the most one-sided boss fight like ever. It's a Swamp Thing beating the shit out of this guy for like 2 minutes. I don't think the bad guy lands like one hit on him. Because I remember the original Swamp Thing, the first one from like the 70s, is like, costumes not... I don't remember it being so great. It kind of looks very fake. The second one's got such a great outfit. They also do a lot to make him very likable in that movie. He's like a really fun leading man. kind of want to watch that now. Love it. Man, okay. Yeah, Swamp Thing is like I can't stop thinking about. You've never seen Howard the Duck? Oh my god, Maya, you're gonna love it. It's, from what I remember, it is quite schlocky and inappropriate. Let's put it this way. The girl from Back to the Future may or may not have sex with a duck. I cannot confirm nor deny that interspecies sex scene is heavily implied in Silhouette. What happened there was I had to close my shade to stand up, and I didn't want you guys to see that I was in my undies. Jurassic Park's a great one. Oh, you've never seen... Okay, we're going to do Swamp Thing The Return, because it's great. That Swamp Thing The Return is... technically, it's a second movie, but in terms of production and story and music and costumes and the cast, it's just a totally different... It's also a very different genre than the first movie. It's like... the first movie's schlocky, but the second one is just like way more fun, and it's just a totally different movie to the point where it just feels like it's in a different continuity. So like we don't really need to watch the first one, and I don't really want to watch the first one. I want to watch Swamp Thing The Return because it's fun, and it's like... It's a movie about a guy a monster who fights other monsters, so that's like obviously something I'm going to be into. But it's yeah, oh, it's such camp, and I haven't seen it in many years, so I can't wait to be either disappointed or thrilled with it. But I love these suggestions, guys. These are brilliant. I'm going to end up watching the stream later on and like remembering these. It's our next dispensary chip. Why are we talking about it? We're talking about it because it happens in the movie, and I need to warn people that Howard the Duck, who's like an anthropomorphic, humanized duck, definitely hooks up with a chick. And you're old enough to know that now. Yeah, it is baffling to have a love story between a cartoon duck and a human woman and to take it as seriously as they do. Well, maybe they'll take it too seriously, but seriously enough that there's hanky-panky. Oh, Tremors is great, Maya. Tremors is such a good movie. Tremors is a classic, man. I've even watched a couple of the sequels. They're like really cheap sequels where they bring back just a couple of characters from the first one. Love it. I love all of them. The campy sequels are, I mean, they're not good. Well, actually, no, I heard one or two of them. Red Letter Media does an episode about all the sequels and how there's one or two that are actually not bad, but from what I remember. But yeah, generally the first Tremors is just a perfect little movie. It's just charming and fun. You know what, guys? I'm taking the pop filter off the microphone. Tell me how that sounds. Or I'm going to listen to it afterwards and see. Because I might get rid of the pop filter when I'm recording stuff, because it might be getting in the way of some of the sound quality. Thing is, I'm a very wet talker. Like when I talk, I can always hear when I listen to the playback, they're splitting in my mouth, and it just sounds so gross that I always want to do stuff to get rid of the pop. I'm a very clicky speaker. I hit my words very hard, is really what I'm trying to say. My cat is standing by the window listening intently as something moves outside, or someone. This is the first panel I did for this page. Very line art heavy comic. You did unlock something. You unlock knowledge of Howard the Duck, and now you can't unknow it. No, yeah, I'm taking suggestions from everyone, Edgar. Oh, Evolution with David Duchovny? Is that what you're saying? Was that a typo? Tremors, Grabbers. I like them all. I don't think I know Grabbers. Rush Hour is a very good suggestion. I'm a big... Okay, so this is like... hey, what's up, Johnny? It smells like comics in here. I'm echolocating. Okay, so what was I gonna say? Completely lost. I've lost the plot, as the English would say. Okay, so Rush Hour. Yeah, so I have a bit of a weakness for buddy action films. Anything from the 80s or 90s that involve, they're both cops, but they're so different they might just be best friends. It's like that whole genre. Just put it in my veins. Don't even ask. And Rush Hour, though it is very late 90s, early 2000s actually, I would say, it is very much of that ilk of the 80s / maybe early 90s action buddy cop movie. Has anyone here seen Lethal Weapon? Because that's on the list. Ooh man, Lethal Weapon would be so fun to watch. And the only the thing about The Break Room is that it's like the whole idea is that it's just watching these movies through the lens of a visual artist, or a storyteller, a writer, people who make comics, which is much of us. Me and Dan and Maya and other people that have been on, like we're all people that overlap. I don't think anyone who comes on is like as steeped in comics as I am, as far as like it's the only thing I seem to be doing these days in terms of work, which is fine. It's paying for my life. But we all think of visual storytelling with our work. It's a part of everything we're doing. I just burped. I burped into the mic. Tell me how that sounds, America. So right now I'm using the, for anybody who wants to know, the Rusty Nib brush set on Clip Studio, on my Huion, with the pressure sensitivity greatly modified so that I don't have to press down as hard. So I'm able to do a lot more light touch drawing, which is how I like to ink. I like to ink holding the pen like this, like high up. Sometimes I choke up a little bit, like when I'm doing detail, but for a lot of the contour, it's just very, very light. And now that I've realized I don't know why I forget certain things. If I had just done this earlier, it might have saved me a lot of time switching back and forth, but whatever. Can't win them all. Also, I don't know why my face in the camera looks so hilariously red and weird. I think it's because I have night mode on my desktop, so everything looks really red because it's easier on the eyes, which I highly recommend everybody does. It's really good for you. Thanks, Lone Wolf. It smells like mozzarella when Johnny walked in. Why? What is Johnny doing that smells like mozzarella? Johnny, what are you doing? Oh my goodness, Lone Wolf. Okay, all right. Highlander's going to be in the roster for the next thing we watch. Like, what are you doing coming up with things like that? That's such a good idea. I've even watched Highlander recently, but I want to watch it again before the new one comes out. And it's the only movie I'm legitimately thrilled about. I cannot wait. I hope it's good. You know, I would not be surprised if you did not like Lethal Weapon. I could see that it's kind of a harsh movie in some ways, at least. Well, did you watch the whole thing? Because the movie starts pretty depressing and it gets a little more fun as it goes on. The first Lethal Weapon is like, it's also like 80s action cop movie, so it might be a little bit a little macho. A little macho for your taste as far as like the characters and the way they talk. I mean, I'm not saying you're like super closed off to that, but I could see it being. Let's put it this way: I don't know a lot of women that like Lethal Weapon. It doesn't quite have the charm of like a Rush Hour as far as it's not as accessible. It's like much darker and it's a little bit. I would even say there's some parts of it that are like pretty misogynistic by today's standards. It's very like, you know. However, I do think the movie means well. Actually, I don't know. Is it like a? I mean, I'm not one who really gives a shit or like jumps on that train typically, but I was like, is Lethal Weapon the kind of movie that would be offensive for like the way it... I'm trying to think if it ever really does anything that would like is demeaning or racist. But it's like also like, you know, it's about a black cop and a white cop in LA in the 80s who become friends. Of course it's going to be racial humor, although there's not as much racial humor as you would think. There's way more in Rush Hour. Rush Hour is like... Parts of Rush Hour is like pretty much him making fun of this guy for being Chinese. It's like it's like a little bit like wow, and it's like I think because he's a black comedian, he gets away with saying some pretty racist stuff. But Jackie Chan has such a good sense of humor about it that he's so confident that he just takes it on the chin and doesn't care. Especially Rush Hour 2 when they're like I think they're in Hong Kong for a big part of the movie, and it's like. The amount of jokes that what's his face makes about Chinese guys, it's like oof. I mean, it doesn't quite bother me, but I'm imagining somebody watching it who's maybe more sensitive to that than I might be, whatever, and then they're like, I don't like it, you know, and that's understandable. I have to re-ink this arm because the light source is totally off. Like, what am I even doing with this light source? That's better. That's what happens when you ink at this speed, you guys. You just end up like making a ton of mistakes and then you just sort of paint it out as you go. Ryan never looks weird. What is this doofus? I don't believe you. I've caught myself on stream sometimes making that face when I'm looking at the Discord. I'm like, making this like really hideous face. Oh yeah? Oh, you should definitely watch Dragonheart. Darkman, oh, what a great idea. What's Krita as CS 30 day? Krita as CS, what is that? 30-day trial. Explain that to me, please. Break it down. Talk about it slowly for my boomer ass. Oh my goodness, Dark City is such a good suggestion. I have an embarrassment of options right now. Yeah, I'm hoping they don't ruin Highlander, but I do think Lone Wolf that it's going to be good. I really just the buzz around it, I'm really hoping is true. Like, there's a lot of buzz from the people who like wanted to work on it. They said the script is like shockingly good. They said it really has all this great stuff that it pulls from the original, but it adds a lot of cool stuff to the lore and it's stuff that all fits really well with what is there. The fact that Henry Cavill is like really into swords and like basically I think he's doing a lot of his own stunts, or maybe all of them, which is why he got injured. Like all of this stuff is really encouraging. Apparently the fight sequences, because it's directed by the guy I think who did John Wick, which is just so good, because they were saying that like the sword fights, it's like someone said something really cool where they were like their modus operandi, for the duels is the idea that like, imagine if somebody had 500 years to train, like how good would they be? And imagine like a duel between two immortals who've like trained swordplay since like the 12th century and they've been alive this long, and then they built the spectacle of the movie around that idea of like skill that's been around for eternity, and like how superhuman they would seem. And if anybody in the chat hasn't watched Highlander, oh my goodness, you're in for a treat. The original Highlander is a classic. On my bachelor weekend, I had a bunch of guys in the cabin. We didn't go to a strip club, we didn't do any of that stuff. Instead, we just hung out and watched movies from the 80s. And we watched Highlander as one of the first ones we put on. And one of my friends who had never seen it was like not into it, and he was, and I was just like, you are so lucky that I'm not erasing you from my brain and starting over with someone else. He just didn't, it's an acquired taste, I guess. It's a really strange movie, but I know what you're thinking when you see it. So you say, Ryan, you've heard of spot blacking, right? Like, you know that you can just fill in areas with shadow. You don't have to do a billion lines on everything. And I say, you're wrong. There's no such thing as spot blacking with ink. You have to just draw everything. You made it up. Gaslight, gaslight, gaslight. Darkman is really good. I couldn't take it seriously. I'm assuming you're talking about Lethal Weapon, Maya. Watching it, I was like anticipating the punchline, but there was no punchline. I was comedically blue-balled. Oh, so yeah, so the first Lethal Weapon is actually, it's the most dramatic of the 4 movies. It's like a pretty, it's like kind of a drama in some ways. It's like a comedy drama action movie. There's not, the first movie really doesn't have as much comedy. It's much more of a straightforward action movie with like elements of psychology. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to assume you were offended by it. That's like, perhaps that's my own sexist projection, that I assume that oh, she didn't like it, it's probably because she's offended. I just realized that that's probably like a really stupid take. But I just, sometimes I've been right about that, but I obviously recognize that that's a very limiting view of another person. So I apologize for that. What was I going to say? I'm trying to remember before I begged your forgiveness for my assumptions, Maya. How was I going to say? What were we talking about? Lethal Weapon. It's like, yeah, if you're expecting straight up comedy like Rush Hour, it's not going to be like that. However, something I love about the Lethal Weapon movies is that they start off, the first movie's pretty dramatic because it's dealing with themes of like this guy wanting to die and grief and he's just lost his wife and like all this stuff. And then as the movies go on, the second movie gets a little more comedic, but it's also kind of serious. And then when you get to like the third movie, it's really silly. And then you get to the fourth movie, and when you look at the fourth movie, set against everything else, it actually feels like the Lethal Weapon movies are basically like an American sitcom. And I love that. Like, it's very, like the kids who are in the first movie who play Danny Glover's kids, they're the same actors who play his kids in all the other Lethal Weapon movies. So you get to watch these kids grow up on camera, and each one, the kids they're always in the background. There's always something else going on with his kids, and there's always like they have all these storylines, and it's just really sweet. It's just something I like a lot. He's got 3 kids, right? He's got the 2 girls, and he's got a son, and you get to see them all become these like really funny, weird people, and and like even the background, it's really cool. Like they have background characters who basically have like one line in the first Lethal Weapon or the second one, and they come up in all the movies. They're there the whole time. It's so great. I love that. I love that they're just like, you just see these like people who work for the LAPD in that universe, and they're just always around. Like there's even like a very famous scene in Lethal Weapon 2. I think it's 2. I don't remember actually if it's 2 or 3, where with the bomb on the toilet, and they're trying to get, and the bomb squad comes in to like work on the bomb on the toilet to try to save this one character, and then the guy who's in that bomb squad scene, he's like in the background in like the next Lethal Weapon movie, and he mentions to one of the other characters like, hey, next time you find a bomb like you did earlier in this movie, like, he doesn't say that, but he's like, wait for the bomb squad to. It's like the bomb squad guys are consistent characters throughout all the movies. It's just like cool. I don't know. It feels very. The Lethal Weapon movies, after a while, when you've seen all 4 of them and you watch them again, they're kind of like comfort food, or they're like a sitcom where you're just like, it's just comforting. It's like, oh, it's like watching Frasier. That's how I've described it to people. It's cozy fiction. Oh, we did watch the Merlin movie. We watched that. That was the first thing we watched. We did it as a live stream, but then we tried doing it on YouTube, but it got copyright struck. Kablam! Kapow! Yeah, I agree. Rush Hour is like intentionally being racist, and that's what makes it funny. It's not like it doesn't realize it's racist. So Big Trouble Little China and Rush Hour, I don't know. I don't know the humor of that is as like directly offensive as something like Lethal Weapon could be. Like Lethal Weapon 4, they're fighting against the Triads, and there's so many scenes of just them making jokes about Chinese guys, but then the Chinese cops are making jokes about the white guys and stuff, and it's, you know, it's in good fun. It's a kind of, you know, I'm more aware of it now because I'm old, because I'm turning 40 next month, and I was like, wow, it's like, I didn't realize how much people were getting away with back then versus now, where it's like, you know, a lot has been said about the culture of hypersensitivity, and I do agree with that judgment, but I also feel like there have been some cases where there's some things I've seen where I'm like, yeah, we could probably do with less of that. However, Lethal Weapon, Rush Hour, those types of movies, that doesn't fall under that. But like 48 Hours, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I do remember Nick Nolte's character straight up calling Eddie Murphy the N-word. Unless if I'm misremembering that, please tell me. But that's one of those things where I was like, damn, this is like a likable, this is supposed to be our hero? This is like, holy crap. This is not, even like Dirty Harry. I watched Dirty Harry recently, the Clint Eastwood movie from the 70s. There's a scene where he straight up says like, yeah, he doesn't like N-words, he doesn't like spics, he's like going through all, and it's supposed to be like, oh, what a curmudgeon. Deep down, he's not so bad, but it's like, holy crap, dude. It's crazy. I'm watching it as a Hispanic, and this guy's like, yeah, he doesn't like any race. I was like, and the whole point is that he doesn't really like anybody, which I get, but like, just the amount of racial slurs Dirty Harry says is like crazy. And he says it in the presence of like a multiracial police force, so it's like, you know, you get that it's from the 70s, you know, but it's self-aware. But Clint Eastwood, there's this clip of Ray Liotta before he died. He was in an interview, and he had said that he felt that Clint Eastwood was the most overrated he was the worst of the famous actors. He's like, of all the famous actors, he's like the one who's like really not good. People were like, Ray, you can't say that. He's like, yes, I can. Shut up. You're not into John Wick like the movies themselves? I understand that. It's plot-wise, they're very thin, and I actually find that the story of the John Wick movies are really, I think they're really bad. The first one's good. I like the first John Wick. It's not a perfect movie, but it's fun, and it's got a nice, succinct little storyline. And then the second, third, and fourth, they all just kind of like, I don't know why they get so absurd with the lore behind all that stuff that it just becomes like eye-rolling. Like the whole Secret Society of Assassins thing, I don't think that that warranted them going into for the 4 movies in a row, but if I'm over here, can you guys hear me okay? I feel like I'm leaning into the mic unnecessarily. If I don't have to, I don't want to do it anymore. It's too much. I want to stand here. But if I don't sound as good, let me know. Oh, the Clip Studio 30-day trial. Okay, so what did you think of it, Lone Wolf? How did you like the clip? The clip. Brian, what's your friend filter movie? Like, if they don't like it, then you can't be friends. Probably Lord of the Rings. And it's not like a hard filter, but if somebody doesn't like Lord of the Rings, I have a really hard time giving a shit what they do like. If you watch Lord of the Rings and you're like, what crap, I genuinely like don't care what you like. Like, I can care about you as a person and your value as a human being, but like your taste in movies, I just don't care after that. If you're like watching that incredible piece of cinema and you're like, boring, it's like you are not an interesting you are not an interesting person. I would say Lord of the Rings, yeah, because it's also like it's not an acquired taste. I don't think. I think it's like it is genre defying rather. It's like you don't even have to like fantasy to realize you love Lord of the Rings. It's just a lot of people think that who haven't seen it, and then they watch it and they get into it every single time. And like my wife claims she doesn't like Lord of the Rings. She's like, oh, it wasn't for me. It's bullshit. She watched it with me. She was in tears at the end. She was very invested. She's trying to save face. I get so mad when I think about it. Oh, by the way, anybody watching, please give the video a like. It really helps us out to give it a little like. Helps my channel, gets me to more people, encourages me to do more of these. The more likes I get, the easier it'll be to ransom back my family from the Bond villains who've taken them. Outlander? That's a Viking thing? Wasn't Outlander the one of the lady who goes back in time and it's like the Irish Revolution or something? Or is that a different Outlander? Expanse. I've never seen The Expanse, by the way. You assume that as a woman I can't handle the musk of Lethal Weapon. You know, it's possible, but I don't know. How could you look at Danny Glover's beautiful, sweaty face in that movie and not fall in love? It is really funny how much of the Lethal Weapon movies is just close-ups of Danny Glover like sweating. just he's so good at being like so uncomfortable. And just dealing with like humiliating, weird situations as a father and as a husband. He's just always, well, he's the family man of the group, you know, so of the duo. But I think it'd be really fun, Maya, if we did a thing where you had to watch all the Lethal Weapon movies with me, like in a row, like in not in one viewing, obviously, but in a where you just had to experience the whole Lethal Weapon saga. And also, I will say the Lethal Weapon movies, the final action sequence of the Lethal Weapon movies is one of the best fight sequences ever put on camera. It is a piece of martial arts beauty. It's the perhaps the most amazing debut. I mean, Jet Li had been in some stuff, I think, but it was like his American movie debut as the villain in Lethal Weapon 4, the head of the Triads. and he has this incredible scene, spoiler alert, where he fights an aging Riggs and Murtaugh in this like rainstorm at night, and it's just, and the whole scene is this like beautiful symbol of like this metaphor for them aging, you know, of them getting too old to do this. Because throughout all the movies, there's that joke of like, oh, I'm getting too old for this shit. And finally, in the last Lethal Weapon, they really are too old for this. And it's like, we might die trying to arrest this guy who's so deadly. And it's such a well-directed scene. It's so suspenseful because every time they get hit, you're like legitimately worried that they're gonna die, because this guy, they build up this villain the whole movie as being like so deadly. And so when they're both facing off against him, there's this worry. It's like watching your dad get in a fight. You're like, Dad, no, you know? And like the way that they go into the scene, it's kind of like they know that there's a good chance they're about to die, but they're like, we can't let him go. Lethal Weapon takes place in LA. They're all LA movies. It's very LA. Frasier is great. And following up with that. Hey, what's up, Broken Blade? We missed you, man. Thanks for showing up. I know you're busy, but I'm happy to have you. We're Broken Blade, jump into the discussion. We're talking about movies that we should watch on the break room, because we're going to do another one soon. $48 hours? Okay. The Raid movies are pretty amazing. The second one in particular has like the best final act. I was a little frustrated when I first saw The Raid 2 because there's like almost no action until the end, and I was like, I really just want to, I don't care so much about the story in this movie, I just want to see the incredible stunts. Man, I'm getting so many scam calls, it's crazy. And then the final act of the movie has the most amazing shit ever. And as someone who had a brief career stint in background stunt work in movies, it was very cool to see what they were able to achieve with The Raid, both 1 and 2. It just shows you don't need like $1 bajillion, you just need like some good choreography, devoted cast, you know, good cinematography. It's a different Outlander. Okay. That's a different one. This one's sci-fi original. Dude from the future tries to go back to Earth and ends up time traveling to a Viking age. They fight a monster from another planet. This sounds fun. You're right, I've been a fool. Yes, I really appreciate what Maya just said. I got about the John Wick movie. She got real bored with the "we are cultured criminals" thing. Okay, I truly cannot stand the way that those movies are written. They're so badly written. I'm sorry. I love Keanu Reeves just like everybody else. I'm a red-blooded human being. We all love him. He's wonderful. But oh my goodness. And those movies have some amazing, wonderful, creative action, martial arts. I give all the credit in the world to the choreography and the spectacle and the excitement of those scenes. But the writing, the storyline, and don't give me that shit that people do when they go, well, you're not watching John Wick for the story. True, you're not. But that's why the story should stop getting in the way of the fucking movie. The movie's like you can tell like they're actually trying to come up with an interesting narrative, and it's so absurd. It's so bad. It's like every scene I'm like, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. It just keeps going and going. Okay, for one thing, the premise of the first movie is a little bit flimsy when they get to like the hotel, and I'm okay with it because it's kind of cute, you know, the idea that there's like this hotel for assassins. It's like, okay, I will suspend my disbelief enough that we can believe that there's a hotel for assassins and that they all stay there in New York and that there's enough working assassins to keep this hotel functioning, whatever. It's already suspending disbelief a little bit to think that there's really that many assassins working at all. Like, how many people are getting assassinated? It doesn't make sense that there would be such a lucrative market and they all have so much work to do. And that they have their own currency. It's like, okay, whatever, fine. And then they just keep, and then instead of like leaving it there and moving on to a different adventure for John Wick, they just keep expanding on the stupidest idea. And he goes back to the hotel in the second, it just keeps going and going, and it gets so stupid. Like, that there's this like underground, you know, there's like all these scenes where it's like he walks in a bar and then there's something happens and everybody in the bar turns and it's like, oh, everybody in this bar is a part of the same Assassins Union. And it's just like, shut up. It's like, what, 6,000 people in New York? Like, it's like, by the end of the second movie, it's like, what, half of the city are trained, are paid assassins. It's just like wandering around. Like, where are these people getting this much work to keep this industry functioning? It's so stupid. And then there's scenes in the third movie, I think it's the third one, where he's like, he goes into a random alley in the middle of a rainstorm and there's a homeless man, like, you know, schizophrenically yelling at himself. And then the homeless man's like, oh, hello, John. And then he opens up this homeless guy tent and there's like a secret doorway into like a place where it's full of more assassins and they all work and they all have the same coin. I was like, why is this homeless man sitting out there in the rain who's secretly a doorman for this group of assassins? Like why would that be there? How is it necessary for him to be there? That there's that many of these people functioning? It was just too much. And I think if the movies didn't take themselves seriously, it'd be like, okay, whatever. But like, you can tell that they think this is clever, and it's just so dumb. It felt like it was written by someone who like doesn't write. And it sucks because if they had just kept with the same premise they had in the first movie, not the revenge over the dog premise, but the idea that you're doing something simple. It's just a simple story about a guy doing, you know, he's vengeance, right? They killed his puppy, so he spends the rest of the movie going after the entire Russian mafia. Great, I buy it, I love it. And then they get to the next one and it's like, they abandon that whole concept of keeping it simple and letting the action and the character speak for itself. And then it just becomes like building out this ridiculous lore that I just think is so dumb. and I just can't stand that they fancy themselves like novelists, that they're going to do this whole, and it's goofy as hell. But I still enjoy the movies mostly because I just love Keanu Reeves, and he's really become like he's like the only celebrity that I would ever be interested in meeting, honestly, with a few exceptions maybe. Robin Williams was the other one. But yeah, that's my big spiel about John Wick and how silly the script is. You guys are seeing some of the uglier parts of my personality, the way I'll just go after a movie. And yes, I agree with what Drowned Pirate says. Maya's like, the cultured criminals thing gets old pretty fast. It does, yeah. There's too many scenes of exquisitely dressed guys in like smoking jackets being like, yes, we'll have to, but they all have special super secret kung fu guns. It's just like stuff. This is like stuff that people thought was cool in like 2003. But I like that those movies got made. I like that it's just an American kung fu movie essentially. A little bit I've been describing all this while I'm drawing a monster getting stabbed in his eye. That's the kind of shit you do on YouTube. Let's watch what? Which one are you talking about, Maya? I guess I'll catch her next time later. It's like watching her tag a new fight with probably Mike Tyson. Yeah. Yeah, let's definitely have a phone call, Maya, if you see this after the fact. The Professional is a great movie. A Fish Called Wanda is another great one. Conan the Barbarian, man, I'm gonna have to go through this whole chat and just write down all of these. Yeah, well, I don't think so. Lone Wolf says, now you know why I'm worried for Highlander. I agree, I get it, but I don't know if it's the same writers or not. And that does make a big difference. I'm hoping it's not the same writers. And even if it is the same writers, don't forget they're building off of an existing mythology, so maybe they're better at working off of something that already exists. Maybe they won't be so cringe. Check on my wife. She's been gone on her bike ride for a while. Yeah, this chat's going fast. Can't stand the Fast and Furious movies. Yeah, I don't really care about those movies. I've actually never watched any of them. I've never seen a single Fast and Furious film. And every year on my birthday I celebrate having never seen Fast and Furious movies. I've never liked Vin Diesel. Every time I see a trailer for the Fast and Furious movies, they just make me laugh in a way that I don't think they intend to. That's fair. Live action anime says Broken Blade for John Wick. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair, but I think I'd be more forgiving of it if it was anime, and I think it's just... That's a fair approach. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't begrudge anybody else for liking it, just like I hoped. I hope I didn't lose any of you when I talked about how I didn't like the John Wick sequels, or at least I didn't like the writing. But I do find those movies entertaining, and I often will just have them on in the background. The world of the story does not pull me in very much because it just seems so cosmetic and silly. Speaking of anime, I am now rewatching Chainsaw Man Season 1 because I loved it so much. But wasn't Season 2 supposed to be out already on Hulu? Unless it's just Hulu only has Season 1, but like... Because that was like over a year ago. Somebody explain to me what's happening with that. Does anybody else watch Chainsaw Man? Because that was like... And it's funny because it's just great animation. I love the writing. It's like a weird, funny. It's very crass and juvenile, but then also pretty deep in a lot of ways. And it made me, because I haven't watched much anime honestly in my life. I've only watched a lot of 90s OVAs, and I often didn't finish them. And I'm just like, is this what anime's like? Because if there's more anime like that, like Chainsaw Man, that's that creative and exciting and fun and weird and horny, I guess would be the term, because it is pretty, I mean, I don't need it to be horny as a requisite, I'm just saying something that just has that much, like, has so much raw energy in it. It's just pure, like, juvenile energy in like the best way. If there's more anime that's on that level, that's that good and that exciting, like, let me know, because I haven't really watched a lot of anime, and I really love that one to the point where I'm watching it again now in English, because I watched it subtitled the first time. I really wanted to hear it in the original Japanese, but the English dub is pretty good. It's like, it's not embarrassing at all. It's so far. Funny though, because some of these movies like sparked some conversations about like, I remember when that was it Harry? Is that the show with what's his face from SNL where he plays an assassin, a hitman, and the guy who had worked on it was like, oh, hold on guys, I'm getting a call from my wife. Hey hon. Okay, I'm streaming at the moment, so, no, I just been drawing for like, I'll be done before dinner, certainly. Alright, love you, babe. That was me and my wife, that's what you heard. Well, all you heard was me, but she's just wanted to let me know she's okay. She was riding her bike for a while, but that's great. That means she had fun. She wasn't even going to go because she's like, I think it's going to rain. And I was like, it might rain a little bit, but you should do it. And if it starts raining, just stop. You know, don't risk falling off your bike, and I'll come get you in the car. And she did it, and it was 2.5 hours of wonderful bike riding. So, and she made a friend too. She wanted to. She's like looking for a bike riding buddy. She met somebody who's into it. So, and I'm not. So. What was I saying? Chat, can you remind me what I was saying? Yeah, the lore was bastardized after the first John Wick movie, I agree. Or you mean Fast and Furious, which one are you talking about? Alien backstory, okay, I missed something. I live in that. That's funny. What alien backstory? Chainsaw Man is very good. I highly recommend it. It's absurd. Oh, you see, so I love the Ninja Scroll movie. I've never seen the animated show. There's mech stuff in the animated show? Why would they do that? That's not... That's not why people watch Ninja Scroll, guys. Ninja Scroll is about sword fights and nudity, seemingly. I remember when I was a kid renting Ninja Scroll from Blockbuster because of that incredible cover and being so excited to watch it. And then my mom walked in right during one of those like shocking anime sex scenes that I did, and she got so mad because she thought that that's why I wanted to see it. Which is really stupid. Like there's other ways that even in that time in the 90s, there's other ways to see boobs, and real ones at that. But she was so convinced that like I was just trying to watch some lewd Japanese cartoon, and I was like, no. I look at the art; it's so awesome. I just, there was no convincing her. And then I finally was a grown man later on, and I got to watch it uninterrupted. And that director, he also did Wicked City, which is another crazy anime with a lot of very questionable sex in it. He's very into the perverted stuff. But man, Wicked City is also so cool. even with that very questionable stuff, which I understand why it'd be offensive to some people because it's like really messed up. Some of those scenes, the monsters and the whole vibe of that movie of like demon hunters in like 80s neon Tokyo. Like, are you kidding me? It's so great. It's so awesome. It's like. But yes, it's also deeply perverted, this movie, in a way that's very uncomfortable to think about sometimes when you think about the people who make that stuff and like what's going on in their heads. It's like, bro. Make those arrows smaller because he's so large. He's supposed to be he's a giant, so. Yeah, you see, and Broken Blade says the same thing. Why are there mechs and Ninja Scroll? There really shouldn't be. Like, that's not the appeal of that anime. It's feudal Japan. Oh, you're referring to Highlander. Yeah, the Highlander sequels are, oh, man. I tried watching the second one. Didn't make it very far. It's so crazy. The opening to Highlander 2, the first 10 minutes is, like, so insanely destructive to the first movie. And they actually got Sean Connery back to do some of those scenes, which is shocking to me, where they're like, oh, right, where they're aliens. That's what you were talking about, Broken Blade. Yes, now I understand. I must have missed it. Yeah, that was... I remember watching it many years after seeing the first movie, and it was like my concept of... And also the Highlander series, which I really loved. I used to watch that all the time. The Highlander series, like, for the most part, I thought that show, it got it. It knew the assignment, you know? But then... I remember seeing Highlander 2 and just being like, what is this? Like, what are you doing? I didn't make it very far because the opening was so bad. Like, it's in the future and it's like Blade Runner, and Connor McLeod is like the king of the future, and everybody blames him for how bad things are, and he's old, and then suddenly he's young again, and it's so crazy how I think it's because everybody was on cocaine because it was like 1986. I honestly think that, like, cocaine had a big part of, like, the crazy decisions that were made then. Yeah, they're aliens now, and they're from another world, and then going to humanity, going to Earth and becoming immortals was like a prison sentence. It's so dumb. It's like. And then I tried watching Highlander: The Final Dimension. I never make it very far into that movie either because I think Mario Van Peebles is the villain, and when they introduce him in that movie, it's so clear that they're just trying to have him be the Kurgan again. He's like just doing the Kurgan, and it's just like, it's again, really bad. But I also heard that they're still really entertaining movies if you just give them a chance. And I was like, okay. But I did watch the one that came out in like the early 2000s, late 90s, where they had Connor McLeod and Duncan McLeod in the same movie together briefly. Christopher Lambert and the guy, I forgot his name, who plays, Mario, no, it's not Mario. What's his name? The guy from the show who plays Duncan McLeod, who's a pretty good actor. I like him a lot. That movie, I don't remember if it's good or not, but I remember there being some pretty fun scenes of the two of them being like cousins and good friends. I didn't even mind the... Okay, do you guys care if I spoil things from that movie? Do you guys mind if I don't remember what the name is. It's not The Final Dimension, is it? What's the name of the one with Connor and Duncan together? And also, do you mind if I talk about what happens in it for anybody who hasn't seen it? Because I remember one or two scenes that I thought were pretty cool, but I also saw it when I was like 16, so bear with me. What's Rurouni Kenshin? I feel like I've heard that mentioned many times. Okay, so Demon Slayer, I saw the first episode and I actually quite liked it. I thought it was very good. And then for some reason I just didn't watch the rest, but I should. I must have just forgotten. But I heard the manga's pretty good too. Did you guys hear that in like 2023 or 20? I forgot when it was, 23 or 24, before Absolute Batman came out. And you'll understand why I'm specifically saying that. Demon Slayer, the manga, the one book issue of it apparently sold out. It outsold the entire American comic book industry. That one issue was so high selling, and America was having such a bad year for comics, for reasons we all know, that it was, it literally just, and it was pretty embarrassing, honestly, as an American comic artist. Like, I wasn't personally embarrassed, but it's like we practically invented this particular storytelling medium in terms of like how people read comics, and because comics were, so many of the American comics coming out were so bad, and just obnoxious and overly politicized and just garbage that, just obnoxious is really the word I would use, obnoxious. And it was so much of that people were like, I don't want to read it all. I don't want it. And then in that year, Demon Slayer comes out, and it's like Japan just completely destroyed us in that, you know. And I don't even think of this stuff as being competitive because it's art, you know. But in terms of like producing work that people want to read, like, yeah, that's worth noting. But then Absolute Batman comes out, and now the American comic industry is like, they say they're having an incredible, you know, 16, 18 months. They're like, hasn't happened since the 90s. But is it because of the industry, or is it just one book, or like what's up? But it could be the industry, you know, because it could be one of those things where people go in for Absolute Batman, then they pick up other comics, you know, which apparently has been happening in some shops. The shop I go to, he says that's exactly what's happening. People go in to get this one book, and then, you know, that's okay. So some of you guys who are younger don't know this because you've perhaps grown up in a comics dystopia where the sales have been really bad the past few years. But when I was a kid, and even when I started in this industry, the joy of it was that, and it was a very good example of, like, I guess you could call it trickle-down economics, was that people would go in, there, you know, to get their hands on their Batman and their Spider-Man and you know, all the X-Men, all that stuff. And then they'd pick up that issue, they'd claim it, okay, I got it before it sold out, great. And then they would look at the wall and say, what else is out? And then they would see, oh, cool, I've never heard of this indie creator before. What's this other book? I'll check it out. The art looks cool. This is a little weird. I'll try, you know. And then that's how you get fans of indie books, because they go there to buy Batman, whatever. And then while they're there, they shop around. They peruse, and they see the new releases from the people that are new and unknown. And that was how the industry worked really beautifully for a long time, because then you would get enough attention as an indie creator through that perusing process that eventually you would get picked up by the big guys, because they're like, oh, you know what, you want to come work for us? You want to write Spider-Man? You want to draw for X-Men for a couple of issues? And then that's how your career got started, in the major sense. But then things got so rough out there in terms of quality that people just weren't buying the popular books, you know? They just weren't doing it because they're like, well, those are crap. So then they just stopped going to the comic shops, or they're buying them online, you know, they're reading digital, because they don't want, you know, like, why buy print, you know, that kind of thing. And then the indie creators are just like not even getting seen, you know. So then they go to Kickstarter, and then it becomes about a Kickstarter market and like appealing to a different crowd. But the shops, the culture of the shops was always was always where it was at. That was always like the beating heart of the industry, I always thought, was in the comic shops. I know on a Wednesday afternoon when all the new releases come out, it's my favorite day of the week. I used to love that shit, going to a comic shop on a Wednesday right after school. And they would hold the books for you that you were waiting for. Like I couldn't wait for the new Detective Comics and the new, X-Men books. I probably read X-Men more than anything. X-Men is probably still my favorite comic, honestly. '90s and early 2000s X-Men was like where I grew up, and so much fun. Okay, so this is the page. I think the inks are done. Well, no, I need to add a couple of things here. Well, actually no, maybe I'll keep it open like this. So here we have panels 1, panel 2, 3, and 4. This is probably my favorite panel on this page. I really like doing this one. You can see there's a lot of detail there. I really went crazy. A lot of line art, a lot of rendering. Let's see, what did I miss? Sorry. Movie. Oh, more movie ideas. Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. Yes. Gross Point Blank is a great movie. I haven't seen Tech on Concrete or Robot Carnival. What is Tech on Concrete? Also, Maya's back. Everybody look out. Endgame. Thank you. It was Highlander Endgame. It was pretty good, right? I remembered it being pretty good. I remember it, Lone Wolf being like kind of awesome, actually. But again, I saw it when I was a kid. Hook is a great movie. Maya, I love Hook. Okay, so that's the spoiler that I wanted to talk. Adrian Paul. Thank you, Broken Blade. Oh, Broken Blade says Endgame stunk. Maybe it did. I'm remembering a few scenes that I like, so I won't hold that against you. I do love Hook, Maya. I would absolutely watch Hook, yes. But what was I going to say? There was something else I was addressing. Yeah, so the scene where, this is a really great scene, spoilers, where Connor's like, neither one of us can defeat What's-His-Face alone because he's so powerful, and the immortals, they get power from killing other immortals. So Connor's like, you have to kill me and absorb my power, and then together, like, we can face him, but you need to. So then he, like, this very tearful scene has to kill Connor. It's actually, I thought it was kind of cool, but again, I was like 15, 16 years old, probably 14, I don't know. So don't judge me. Do not judge me, as I say. Samurai X, it's the series with tonal shift coming. Adrian Paul, yes, I like Adrian Paul. Rurouni Kenshin. Basically, an assassin has the crisis of conscience and vows to never kill again while dealing with the aftermath of his earlier days. That's cool. You should see if it's on Hulu. Oh, that's sweet, Maya. She wants to know if I were to approach my local comic shop about blackmail, how would I do that? You just tell them, you just send them a link to my website or something. Or if you have a physical copy, I could give you a copy. I mean, you support the Kickstarter. I don't remember if you did digital or physical, but even if you did digital, maybe I could send you one of the extra copies I have and you could just show them. But yeah, I think the website is good. But I do have a deal right now, a loose deal with a distributor, so a lot of my comics are going to be hopefully heading into shops in the next year. So. The comics I get a subscription from never showed blackmail, but they sold other stuff found on Kickstarter. Oh, really? You mean the comic shop you go to? Lone Wolf, reach out to me about that. Maybe I'll send you. I mean, if you want to show them my website, or if you have a copy of my book, you can show them. I should do more cold calling, but the distributor that I have a deal with right now, they're going to give me the contacts for like hundreds of comic shops, maybe even thousands. So. That's cool. Man, you guys gave me so many good movie recommendations. I feel like Swamp Thing might be the next one we do now, because it's just so silly. All right, so here's some completed inks. Okay, I'm gonna call it a night. It's like 9:30 here, so I want to chill out with my wife and help her make dinner. You know, maybe watch some X-Files. Guys, thank you. This was a great stream. I really appreciate everybody showing up, and it was good. I got some people from the Patreon who showed up. I got some new subscribers. And for anybody who's joining in and who knows me from the break room, and that's why you followed my channels, because of the break room stuff that you saw. We're doing a new episode very soon, and that's what we're looking at the movie recommendations for. We're going to be doing a new episode of the break room, and it's going to be great. And I'm going to be doing a poll on Patreon to see which ones you guys want. So there's some clickety-clack for you. All right. Good night, guys. Love you.